Welcome everyone to the Tabletop. My name is Chobra, and I'm your host. And of course, Tabletop is just a place where we have fun with Hearthstone, trying to simulate, of course, playing on the actual tabletop, whether it's kitchen tables or whatnot. Back in the day with physical card games that many of us, I'm sure, have enjoyed. But we have two very special guests. Let's jump right to them. And of course, we have Brian Kibler and also Kaldi from Fnatic. So let's just do some quick introductions. Brian, why don't you go first?
Hi. I'm Brian Kibler. You may know me from Twitch chat spam, most likely these days at least. But yeah, I've been playing on tabletop stuff for years and years. Played Magic competitively, and I started playing Hearthstone during closed beta, and sort of got more serious about it in the past few months. So having a lot of fun with it.
Awesome. And Kaldi, what about you?
My name is Jökull. I'm 22 from Iceland. I played chess for about 5 years, then went to StarCraft for about a year and switched to Hearthstone and play for Team Fnatic at the moment. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, I can tell you guys that I've played both chess and Magic very casually, so we will probably never engage in a conversation about either of those games. I'll just try to avoid that so that I don't make a fool of myself. But today, of course, we're here with Hearthstone, and last week we asked our guests just to bring in some fun decks, and I think Simon asked you guys to bring some fun decks here today too, but I may throw some curveballs here and there as we go, and I know you guys are both on board to be on turn 2 later to discuss the actual game scene and the meta and whatnot, so I think we can just, have some laid-back games and discuss as we go, and why don't we jump right into the game so that people have some cards to watch, and you guys go ahead and pick any of the decks you've brought. Hopefully a very silly or at least like a themed one, not like Control Warrior or something like that. That's not what we're looking for on the tabletop.
Well, I've got
okay, all right. Well, I'm excited. So if you guys want to go set that up and then shoot me an invite to observe, we'll just jump right in and we'll go from there. I'm excited to see. I got to check out some of Kaldi's decks earlier because he just wanted to make sure that they were kind of on par with what we're looking for, and I have to say I'm excited for that. But Brian, I'm very interested in what you have prepared. So, all right, got it from both of you guys. So I'll be jumping right in. And let's see. Taking some time to load. You guys can go ahead and you guys can go ahead and commentate your own game since I'm taking some time here to jump in. I might have to jump in again. I might have to ask for re-invites. The observer mode sometimes seems to go in forever polishing the board.
Well, so far we don't have any action. Both of us said go on turn 1. So.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
you're not missing.
If that's how you guys want to play. Yeah. All right. Let me jump right back into the game, and you guys can shoot me invites if you can once I'm logged in.
Will do.
But while I'm not able to watch, and hopefully I'm not missing too much action, like you guys said, I just want to ask. Both of you guys, of course, now quite a bit more active. If you guys want to shoot me invites now while we talk, I'll be able to jump in. But we'll go in order here. Brian, like you said, of course, you've been involved with Hearthstone kind of all throughout, but you've gotten a lot more serious about it very recently. And kind of what led to that, I guess, shift in gears for you? Was it just the timing of it, or maybe the expansion or something like that?
I played, like I said, I played during the closed beta, and I primarily played Arena. And I got kind of bored playing Arena, all the time for a while. And it wasn't actually until I went and was staying with a friend of mine in Atlanta during a Magic tournament that I was there for, that I really started had any experience playing constructed Hearthstone, and it was just way more fun to me. My favorite way to play collectible games has always been constructed. I find the sort of challenge of figuring out things in different decks to be one of the coolest parts of collectible games in general. And in particular, I just tried a bunch of different decks of his, and I was like, oh, I want to try and figure this out myself, and sort of got much more into it at that point.
All right. Well, I'm now in game. So Kaldi, before we get to a chat with you already, Kaldi's I think a little bit more straightforward here in terms of themes.
Whoa, an Alarmabot.
Wow, Alarmabot there too, and the Echo.
Echo. Uh-oh, you have multiple Alarmabots.
Well, I'll tell you guys what. I mean, when I once played Double Alarma Bot, I pretty much gave my enemy a turn 3 Antonitis, and the game was over. So they actually mirrored it. They mirror imaged it, so it wasn't very fun. But Kaldi, we'll go with you first. What's kind of your theme here for your deck?
It's all gnomes actually. The name of the deck is Go Gnome or Go Home, so that's something I'm gonna be bringing here. Yeah. But yeah,
I like it.
Basically all the gnomes I could find there. Yeah, it should be kind of.
I like it. That was one of the things I was maybe gonna toss at you guys and be like, one person has to choose gnomes or one person has to choose goblins, but we're already going strong with the gnomes here. On the flip side with the druid, I mean, Brian, without giving it too much away, like what are we looking for here? Is there a very
generally
distinct?
See my deck's theme start around turn 9. This is my dragon druid deck that has every single one of the dragon aspects in it. I've actually been playing this quite a bit, like on like ladder on stream, and have done reasonably well with it. So it's, I actually wrote an article about this deck for my website, which is bmkgaming.com for those who don't know. But it has an FAQ at the end which talks about, well, why do you play Nozdormu, and why do you play Ysera? Why do you play Malagos? And the answer is because it's a dragon, because it's a dragon, because it's a dragon. So.
That's pretty awesome. I'm actually glad I can find it in action here. Meanwhile, we're actually, wow, so you bypassed the, seeing that you bypassed the battle cry here for
Gelbin didn't get an awesome invention.
Yeah, I mean, is Gelbin really Gelbin anymore without the awesome invention?
I know.
Probably for the better, though. Probably for the better, to be honest. Well, let's see. What's your play here? I mean, the Alarma bots have kind of just been playing your hand for you, I think.
I guess, yeah. It's a bit tricky here.
Yeah, for better or worse, we'll say that. For better or worse.
Indeed, yeah. I think I kind of have to recombobulate here.
All right.
Oh,
on the Gilbin
that's
too.
better.
And...
Oh, he gave
yeah, it's better. You didn't get the battle cry, but you got 1 extra health. And that's the recombobulating value right there. And the Alara bot. Well, as for Brian, we're all just gonna wait until the time. Okay. Oh, just ramping it right up there. I like it. So you mentioned that you've been playing the dragon-based deck quite a bit actually recently, and would you say that it has like distinct matchups, right? Like that it's better or worse at, or it's just kind of all dependent on your own hand?
Like like I built my original version of this deck actually. Oh god, I got Flame Strike. That's not a goblin or a gnome. But my original version of the deck was actually every single dragon, including like Fairy Dragon and Twilight Drake and all that nonsense. And it wasn't particularly fun because it was really, really difficult to win. It was very, and I was like, it's a lot more fun actually winning with cool dragons. And once, when I was just playing here, let's play. This is a dragon, by the way, Azure Drake. Ooh,
that's true. Yeah. Oh, but, well, yeah. Go on. I'm looking at your hand.
But no, so I was like, okay, well, I want to be able to survive to actually play my giant dragons, and that was basically all of it is just a bunch of taunts all the way up until you get to the dragons, which actually makes it pretty good against decks like Zoo and Hunter. I even have like healing touch in the deck to keep me alive if the game goes long against Hunter, so you don't get burned out, and it works pretty well against aggressive decks. It can work pretty well against like other sort of ramp style decks because once you get to the late game, you're just playing dragon after dragon after dragon. Yeah. It's a little weaker against it's pretty bad against rush decks that can actually deal with your taunts. Decks like Mage that can polymorph or fireball your taunts and just keep attacking you, or against Hunter decks that have a lot of owls or Hunter's marks. But it's actually pretty reasonably competitive, despite being despite having Nozdormu and Onyxia in
it. Well,
it's kind of been the same idea for me with the.
Jeeves! There's no way I'm gonna ever have less than 3 cards. They all cost.
That's true. You're only gonna play 1 per turn from now on, pretty much.
But yeah, I also like added 2 or 3 complementary cards. Like I was playing the Dollar Mage, like you saw, the Sorcerer's Apprentice. So I'm feeling like I would need at least a few spells to make the deck kinda a bit more interesting. But yeah, it's I don't know. I put a lot of different gnomes in there. I really like the Gnomes Experimenter. I say I've been playing like mostly very serious, constructed almost. I've for example never got 12 wins in arena. Is something I've never done. I'm quite bad at arena actually, but I was trying this in casual mode, playing these I guess less serious cards,
Right.
and it's really fun. Just almost forgotten about like how fun Hearthstone is,
Yeah,
Really
absolutely.
good,
That's
yeah.
what I've loved about GVG expansion. It's kind of let everyone go back to their original moments with Hearthstone, right? Just tinkering around with the fun cards, the RNG cards. I'm also notoriously bad at arena, so you don't have to feel bad. Not that I'm like good at constructed compared to you guys like either, but just saying.
If you get
But-
a non-gnome off Unstable Portal, you're not allowed to cast it.
Well, I don't know. This one you might be okay with. Like, I'm just gonna go and say I think you're okay
I
with.
think you'll be okay with that one, yeah. Oh god.
we'll see what the second one brings. Well,
This
that's
is
a
quite
little-
interesting actually. Let's see.
Yeah, that's actually better.
Probably.
We could get some. Yeah, we could get some decent value out of that. The Blast Mage. It's not a gnome, but it's a goblin. Ooh,
You might be dead.
only one there though.
Very close to dead.
That's true. I mean, I'm almost thinking like, does Kaldi just hero power like every turn here and win? Like, you're down to 7, man.
This Jeeves is actually gross. Like, I will never draw a card out. I cut Ancient of War from this deck because I drew like all my cards. Oh god, all my cards are too expensive. All right, well,
Oh,
gotta
man.
go for it.
Oh, okay.
Jesus.
Wow. Wow, you threw away 3 dragons just for that.
The combined cost of my hand is probably more than your entire deck, both in terms of dust and casting costs.
Well, it
Let's
still,
see.
it still only leaves you at 3 health though, so we'll see. Oh man, that's actually pretty good.
Oh no, it's
Wow.
a bug.
That's actually amazing.
Oh,
just gonna
boom.
extend it a bit.
Ooh.
Now look at Kaldi's head, of course. Kaldi trying to make things a little bit interesting here for us, huh?
Mhm.
Giving Brian just like this slimmer of hope because of that death wing. You get an eagle horn. What do we hear? Dust bite. Oh, you guys both got like pretty decent weapons. I feel like that's very uncommon for Blingtron.
Yeah.
One person just gets
I
shafted.
against, who did I was playing. I think it was against like Tides last night on ladder, and he played that, and I got like a Gladiator's longbow, and he got a Perdition's blade. I'm like, thanks. Uh-oh. Well, I only have 1 healing touch in my deck, so I don't have a Tree of Life. Ooh, maybe
Well,
this.
Oh. I mean, Kaldi just keeping you hanging by a thread here.
I'm at 1. Well, 2 now. 2.
Effective. I mean, pretty much effective at 1. We'll see.
Yeah. Uh-oh, Recombobulator.
I think at this point, oh, that's pretty good. And there's the fireball. Yeah, I was gonna say at this point, like Kaldi's just trying to see how much fun value he can get out of cards before like finishing the game off here.
Well, he knew
But-
I just started my Alex Straza, so...
Oh god.
Yeah, that was pretty big. I'm gonna go ahead and say that. So Kaldi, I mean, the gnomes pulling through pretty strong for you right
Gnomes
there.
versus dragons, not goblins. And apparently gnomes win.
Apparently, I mean, they have trouble with goblins, but dragons, on the other hand, it's a pretty good matchup.
That was quite fortunate actually. I seem to get like a lot of early game gnomes for the early game,
Yeah.
some draw for the mid game and some late game gnomes and spells for the late game, so that was really optimal, I felt like, yeah.
Yeah, I think you basically had something you could play like every turn, and that definitely worked out.
Those
But-
armor bots, man, yeah, they really got stuff out, I felt.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, at some point, alarm bots, do they really work out in favor of you? I'm not so sure.
Most
But
gnomes
while
seem pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of sitting with 2 alarm bots and a what is it called, Jeeves as well. Yeah, that didn't really pan out, because I couldn't really get them away because they kept bouncing back. But yeah.
So I would like to be able to jump on and maybe watch you guys maybe build a deck. But you know what? For game 2, we'll just you guys both have some other decks prepared.
I got a bunch of sweet ones here.
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, for Kaldi actually, we'll just.
Do I play the mage again, or do I go for another one?
You know what? Let's go with a different one. I mean, we're not playing
sounds
Canada
good.
here. Yeah, so we'll have you bring out something new. That way, Brian also doesn't know what to expect again. So let's just jump right in.
My next deck would be good against his gnome deck, but.
Ooh. Oh, now you're tempting me. I'm like, wait, let's change the rules again, Kaldi.
I don't know. Either way, I'm good.
All right.
You know what, Kaldi? I'll let you just go for your choice of deck here out of the ones you've had, and then we'll jump into game 2. You guys can start it up and send me invites when you're ready.
Ooh, this is gonna be interesting. Very interesting.
All right, let's see. Let me jump in.
Really looking forward to playing this deck here. It's quite different. I don't know. I think something like this could actually be possible in Constructed, but it's hard to say.
I was actually playing this deck on ladder last night. I actually play all these ridiculous decks on ladder sometimes. Just because it's fun. Ooh, my hand is great now.
All right.
I wonder if we're doing the same thing. Is actually.
I think it's quite likely. Yeah.
It might be. I'm not able. All right. Let's see. I'm looking at Kaldi's hand right now.
That would be the most awesome game. Holy shit! If it's the same thing. Beyond awesome. Ooh, quite the mirror here.
Let's see. Oh wow, even the same totems. Yeah, I'm waiting to see Brian's hand. There we go. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely gonna be interesting one way or another. I'll tell you that. But let's talk a little bit. Let's talk a little bit more seriousness while we're playing this, because I think we're able to just wait this one out. So for Hearthstone, I mean, you guys both kind of talked about your quick backgrounds, but I want to go back to Kaldi real quick, because I feel like both of these decks we're just gonna have to hold our breath and wait until the end.
Oh, we're not gonna wait for anything.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're just going strong. All right.
I feel like I got a little bit better that bargain than you did.
That is. Wow. And you know what? Like, looking at Kaldi's hand, I'm like, I can't help but feel bad, because, yeah, just. Wow.
I don't know. There's nothing else to do, I guess, in this.
Yeah, you know what? I agree. You just gotta go for it.
This is go well for you.
Oh god.
Wow. Well, what do you do here? I mean, yeah, I mean, you can get rid of the divine shield, I guess. That's something you can do. So while you're contemplating, I'm gonna put you on the spot more by asking you a question. But you said you played chess and then you played StarCraft too. I mean, what got you into Hearthstone as like a professional again in esports after having played StarCraft?
I don't know. I just kind of got kind of good, so kind of went from there. I don't know. Yeah.
So I mean, obviously, Hearthstone was very well liked, I think, by just every community, or not every, but like the majority of gaming communities. So you started playing it, you saw that you played well on it.
Getcha.
And oh really? Oh wow.
We're going aggro now.
This one's going all in favor of Brian. Yeah, Kaldi.
But yeah,
I'm sure about this right now.
I was living in a gaming house in Switzerland playing StarCraft, and we always kind of, I guess, jumped to different random games all the time. And when Hearthstone came out, everyone just stopped playing StarCraft for a week and just played Hearthstone, and like,
wow,
it was quite random with that, yeah.
Blizzard really brought that upon themselves, huh? We're like, hey, we'll make this awesome game that people can play away from our other game, and then suddenly just everyone will be playing Hearthstone. I mean, for the better, I think, for sure. I mean, StarCraft, of course, still doing really well. Really happy to see that. But I'm very happy for Hearthstone's existence. And bro,
My poor Leroy, he's dead.
Ouch.
Okay. Ooh. Oh well, reload.
oh, all right.
Now I'm playing a Murloc Shaman deck.
Hold on one sec. I seem to have jumped off here.
I'm kind of in trouble here.
Anybody?
I mean, yeah, I have way more Murlocs than you do. Of course you're in trouble.
Yeah, that seems to be the way with Murlocs. I mean, with Neptulon, of course, and this is something I think everyone seems to agree on, but I like to ask everyone I run into each time that, what was I going to say? Like, Neptulon, obviously, it brings Murlocs, but people originally felt that you had to play a Murloc deck to really make it work. I mean, how do you feel about that card, both of you guys?
I mean, I think it's a powerful just sort of finisher. One of the issues that Shaman decks can sometimes have is that they just run out of gas at the end of the game. And with Neptulon, you actually have a tool that you can refill your hand and just continue to apply threats. I mean, it's obviously not necessarily super consistent, but it still gives you that sort of card advantage as the game gets late. I don't know that it matches up. It compares favorably to Doctor Boom is the thing. Like Doctor Boom, it doesn't have overload, gives you the same size body, and puts the 2 Boom bots in play right away for no additional mana cost. So given that Boom is neutral and Neptulon is a class legendary, not clear that it matches up quite as well as you might expect. But I do think it's a pretty powerful card.
I've been thinking it's kind of comparable to the Ancient of Lore, really, for 7. I found, but it seems kind of comparable. I think Dr. Boom is probably better, but in Shaman, often on turn 7, you have very few cards anyway, so it seems, I mean, Sixer was playing it on Deck Wars earlier, so it's pretty good, definitely. I play it in my Shaman for sure.
All right, hold on. I just got booted a little bit. So just a little bit quick info on that. For those people who don't know, I live in Korea, so it's 4 a.m. now. I was doing Deck Wars since like 2 a.m. So I had to rent a room to make sure I didn't disrupt my neighbors at like 2 a.m. Casting a game, and I'm like not sure how the internet works in this room and things like that. But while we wait to set up the next game and make sure that I'm all set up and ready to see what's going on in the game, we'll take a quick break so that we don't so that we can make sure we see more decks here, and we'll be back with more tabletop with Brian and Kaldi. Don't go anywhere.
All right.
Welcome back, everyone. We are here at the tabletop playing some Hearthstone with Brian Kibler and Fnatic Kaldi. And so, wait, last one we had the whole Shaman Mirror matchup. Who ended up winning that? Yeah,
Kibler.
All right, Brian ended up winning that. Of course, I would have assumed. I mean, with the Sneeds versus the Explosive Sheep, it was pretty spelled out from there. But we saw that going down. So now that you guys are 1-1, I wanna actually see how you guys build your decks on the fly here with any given thing. So since you won game 2, I want you to choose a number from either 10, 20, or 30. One of those three.
30.
30. All right. So then out of 10 and 20, Kaldi, you can choose one of the remaining ones.
20.
20. All right. So Brian, we're going to ask you to make a deck with 30 GVG cards. So all GVG cards, no classic cards. And Kaldi, you'll get to use 20 and then 10 classic cards. So we're gonna see how you guys build your decks here. Of course, we won't be able to like list it off on stream so that you guys can do it. But you guys can hero, of course, you guys can choose just whichever one, and we'll see how that goes through. But so Brian, you're gonna have to go hard with the GVG
all
here.
GVG cards. All right.
Yep, all GVG cards. I think for you the hero matters a little bit more here.
Yeah. All right. I think I got it. Ooh.
All right. And for Kaldi, as you guys kick things off, also and all of us viewers, of course, we can see what's going on here. And I'll make sure I have to keep track of this as you guys go through, make sure we're on point here. But Brian, while you're making your deck, of course, we'll talk about this more on turn 2 in depth, but recently at the Kingwin tournament, Strife Crow won 4-0 in the finals with, his Mech Mage, and he gave, I saw in a talk later, he gave credit to you saying, he got the idea and the foundation from your write-up. And just how do you feel about just Mech Mage in general, like aggro mage? You seem to like it when you wrote it up.
I think it's quite powerful. The mech shell, I think really revolves around Neck Warper, and I think that that mage is in the best position to take advantage of it because it has a lot of the best. Like I think it has the best cheap mech. I think Snow Chugger is the best 2-cost mech that is class specific, and I also think that the class has one of the best sort of mech synergy cards in Goblin Blast Mage. It's a 5-cost or 4-cost 5/4 that is fine on its own, and then just has a really, really powerful battle cry ability. And then one of the things, I tried a bunch of different versions of mech decks, and the fact that you have the utility and removal from Frostbolt and Fireball in Mage just gives you a lot of ability to take advantage of the early starts that you can get, the explosive mech warper starts that you can get, better than the other classes.
Sounds good. Yeah, Snow Chugger, of course. Even from the early release on Arena, everyone was raving about that card. And for Brian, I feel like you're going to be able to round out your deck pretty straightforward here. And in some ways, the whole having to use all 30 GVG cards makes it maybe a little bit easier after you fill some of your mana curve. For Kaldi, let's make sure you only have 20 here. I know you're still working on it and tweaking it, but I'm liking some of it.
Not all of it.
Well, I'm liking some of both of your decks. I mean, I feel like you're still in the worst. Do you have? Because I feel like you have more than 20 GVG cards. So I just want to.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so we're gonna see you tweak that. 1, 2.
This feels boring. I'm gonna try and make a different one. I'm gonna experiment with another deck.
All right, we'll give you some time. Yeah, I mean, I threw this curveball at you guys just live on air. So
no, I'm not saying this experiment is boring. I'm saying the deck that I'm making is boring. I want to make something.
Absolutely, I'm all for that. All right.
It's just a way to sort via GVG cards. They're kind of
if you just
back, but
if you just type GVG, actually, I think they made that put in rather than the whole expansion. Yeah, if you just search for GVG, like you would on Twitter, I think it brings up just GVG cards.
Okay, I did not even know that was a thing.
Yeah, I just tested it on the day of it launched and it seemed to work. So that's something good to know for everyone if you guys didn't know. But Kaldi also experiment with a couple of different decks here, and I'm liking how you guys are experimenting. Given that we do have Kaldi who has to use certain classic cards, or at least on 10. And Brian, you've got to use all GVG. Now, like you said, obviously mech's a huge part of GVG. I mean, Kaldi, how do you feel about mechs? I think the big question on everyone's mind is, while mechs seem to play a crucial role, and like Mech Warper can bring in a lot of mech decks for any class, is it really like big enough that it's going to overtake some of the other archetypes that we've had? And what do you think about that, Kaldi?
Probably not. I think Undertaker is still incredibly strong, and people are not, I don't know, not still on that, how strong Undertaker actually is. So yeah, I think that one will definitely be in still.
Yeah, Undertaker is definitely a card I want to go a little bit more in-depth with on turn 2 later on with both of you guys, because that card's been, it's been underwatched by a lot of people for quite some time now, and we do see some anti-death rattle cards in GVG, but are they really gonna make the difference here against Undertakers? Maybe not. We'll have to wait and see. And let's see. All right. I mean, I'm looking at Kaldi's here. I mean, both of them are bound to look fun. I think the great thing about GVG is, I mean, once you include any GVG cards, like there is a new level of fun factor than the original classic cards. A lot of them bringing a nice twist, or I feel a lot of them actually maybe higher risk, higher reward. Even without the RNG, right? We've seen a lot of ones that people kind of couldn't figure out the value of because of the attack and health ratio and things like that, the stat points.
I do want to point out that the fact that there are no dragons at all in GVG is really disappointing. There's the only new GVG cards in my dragon deck are Grove Tenders, which are good cards, but they're not dragons.
That's true.
It's not even a mechanical dragon. You'd think there'd be a mechanical dragon, because dragons are just awesome.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I know some people brought that up during the expansion. They're like, I really wish like dragons and things like pirates would become more like stronger types, card types. Of course, pirates got a little bit more to work with here in GVG, but not dragons.
I mean, both from a player perspective and a game design perspective, professionally, I'm a game designer. I have a company, we make games, and the different sort of sub tribes, as the sort of creature types are often referred to, with mechs and pirates, and the little ones that we see. Obviously, mechs is a huge theme of the expansion, but it is cool to see there being more support for pirate decks. Just wish there's more for dragon decks, And there was some stuff in the first set. There's Murlocs. There's a few new Murlocs in GVG. There's pirates, a few new pirates here, and we see sort of non-creature type themes like the death rattle theme. We sort of saw with Nerubian Weblord, there was the battle cry, not really theme, but anti-battle cry type stuff. But it's interesting to see that sort of develop, because without that, you sort of don't really have a ton of incentive to play cards other than those that just have the best stats. And definitely makes building decks more interesting when you're looking at things other than just the numbers on the abilities in the card.
Well, that's a good point. I'm looking at Brian. I'm gonna take that you're set with your deck right there that you've got.
I can play either of my decks. I got two.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll let you choose right when you have to go into game. What about you, Kaldi? Are you satisfied with how your deck looks?
I'm ready to go. Yeah. I'm ready to go.
All right. Well, why don't you guys jump right into game? We'll see which one Brian chooses between the two heroes that we've tinkered with here for GVG. But jump into game, invite each other. You guys don't have to worry about inviting me. And
I think going off the Nerubian Weblord, we were thinking about that. We're looking at the new cards, and Hobgoblin with that synergy seems kind of okay. Like playing, because it buffs him to what, a 3/6, is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah.
And most of the cards that are I guess one attack aren't really battle cries. I think the only one that we were looking at was the Echoing Ooze. So like an idea with Annoyatrons and a lot of like one attack minions with the Nerubian Weblord being a big part. I mean, definitely slows things down.
That's something we'll. I did get a beatdown once from a Hobgoblin deck after GBG came out. It was not fun. But we are looking at the Paladin that you've chosen, Brian, and then a Shaman, but a little bit different for Kaldi.
The first deck that I built was basically just my Mech Mage deck from the
Yeah, I saw that.
Like, this is just not very fun. So
I actually did that as well. The first deck I threw together was just Mech and Mage, and then
I saw both of you guys go for that. I was like, well, I wonder which class they think is good in GBG.
Well, I mean, like I was saying, you know, I think that Mage with Snow Chugger and Blast Mage just has a lot of the strongest tools, and yeah, I was just like, this is not really all that fun, and that's the whole point of this. So,
I think it's great, and the Whirling Zap-O-Matic. We've seen a lot of big plays with that recently.
I killed my opponent on turn 4 with my Mech Shaman deck at one point. It was pretty great.
Okay. That's disgusting, man. With the Whirling Zap-O-Matic, there's a lot of big early finishes that can be done for sure.
Yeah, this deck that I made was definitely focused on Whirlwind. No, Wind Fury is it called? Yeah.
Oh, the Wind Fury. All right.
Yeah,
I like that.
The cards that actually stood out as being kind of exciting to me when I first saw the GVG spoiler was Dune Maul Shaman. You know, just that huge, and there he is, right there.
Speak of the devil, yeah.
Huge Wind Fury creature, and you know that can be, you know, pretty powerful. You know, especially because the drawback is not always a drawback. It can sometimes just be a benefit.
Right. Absolutely.
It looked really good when I was testing this Aggro Shaman out before. And I was playing it on ladder the first day it came out, the expansion. But I actually ended up though really hating that card. The thing that happened was there were three minions on the board. 2 of them were X, and I was in a position where I was kind of out of cards. So I was actually forced to go for it, and actually popped both of the X and lost the game horribly. But that's how that went.
Yeah, I was playing last night. This was actually with my Ancestors Call deck when I was, you know, first put it together last night, and I had an opponent who had an Ogre Brute. He's playing the Silence, the Watcher Druid deck. And Druid deck, and he double Savage Druid for the win, and his Ogre Brute ended up attacking the wrong thing, and he just lost horribly.
Oh god,
that hurts.
Oh no!
Yes.
God.
Wow. You know, speaking of the ogre passives that we now have in GBG, did you guys see that clip? I think it was originally from Hosty, and then it was compiled by Trollden in the Funny and Lucky Moments in GBG, but where Mogre the Ogre comes into play, and it just powers through for Hosty. Like his enemies all get the wrong hits, and he just stays alive at like 3 health to the very end.
Mogre is awesome. Mogre is a pretty sweet card. I really like that guy.
Yeah, no, I think he does bring. I mean, sure, it's RNG, but it's definitely like fun to watch. I think from anyone's perspective, and then you can work around it a little bit. I'm pretty sure. So I'm interested to see how people work with that. Of course, actually, there's a lot of cards here I want to ask about, but Lightning Storm.
See.
I totally forgot that you didn't have to play with a bunch of GVG cards.
He has a little bit of leeway here.
What?
And so you'll just have to take that.
It's quite painful with the card I was planning to play there.
Yeah.
That one, getting that only that minion, Jesus.
I saw that. I saw it hover over. We'll see if it can come into play though. I'm looking forward to it. For Brian, I do want to go back, and you do seem to have I'm not sure if it's unhealthy yet, but a nice obsession with dragons. And you know, is that just from, you know, maybe some other games or like books even that you've liked, or just in general you think they're cool?
I mean, I generally think dragons are awesome. My nickname among a lot of Magic players is the Dragon Master, because one of my first big tournament successes was playing a deck that had dragons in it. When that was not something that people typically did in Magic at that point. It was just not a particularly popular or effective strategy. Most of the decks then were things that just had lots of small creatures or powerful control spells or things like that. Uh-oh. I may get world right out here.
Yeah, I mean the Wind Furies are coming through pretty strong, so.
Yeah, that spirit part was quite helpful, I have to say.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you have here? Let's see how GBG deals with GBG, right? I mean, can't really. I guess the Flame Tongue is a classic card, but
The Lightning Storm was pretty good too. Ooh.
I mean, you guys have both been chipping away quite a bit though. I'm actually, yeah, I had no idea how this would work out. It's just an idea I came up with since we do have the expansion to work with. What do you have here? Oh, your Power Mace. But so far we're seeing a little bit, I guess, equal play here. But then Jeeves might change that. Well, now you got stuff you definitely need to deal with.
All right. Well, let's see what we can do.
Ooh, oh no.
Oh, man.
Oh no. It's actually worse than the guy. What's his name? The Quartermaster.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Looking for the taunts there, but you got one. And what can you make of this? I guess you can clear. Yeah, you got the Wind Fury on your Tinkertown too. And can you make it out alive from this one?
He can, yeah. He can.
That's fine.
No, wait.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. No, I think he can. I mean, maybe it depends on what you draw, Kaldi, but. And looking at Brian's hand, actually, should be able to make it out. Yep, there we go. Get that second taunt in there. All right, so hanging by a thread,
I may
Brian.
just be able to kill you, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it.
No, I don't think I could kill you. I could only do 8, 12, 13 to you. Yeah. Close, though.
I think we're gonna be forced to taunt here. Yeah. Actually getting a bit scared.
Yeah, this suddenly changed around. The new use for muster for battle.
Yeah, muster enhanso. Yeah, mustard for I don't even know.
Let's see. I'm interested to see how the damage works out for Kaldi here. But now both of you guys, of course, you guys are now quite active in Hearthstone as players, and then you've also been active in other titles. And would you say, that background you think gives you a little bit of an edge in just being able to dive into Hearthstone? Because I mean, I think a lot of people tend to forget that Hearthstone is still only a year old, right? So for us to even have professional players, and there's a game while we're talking, but for us to even have professional tournaments going through, it's pretty big. So, what do you guys think? I mean, from both of you guys come from different titles. You guys have had experiences as players.
I definitely think Magic is a lot more useful than chess or StarCraft, but it's a lot about just when you're at tournaments in front of people, like knowing how to deal with that. Like I don't know, like a lot of people don't realize is at big LAN events, just taking care of your condition, sleep, etc. like can be so crucial, so that's definitely, I think that, helps out. But yeah, it's also knowing a bit about esports. So, I think Magic is a lot more relevant than StarCraft.
Yeah, I mean, the sort of basic principles of Magic and Hearthstone are very similar. The sort of strategic elements of the games, the theory involved behind, why things are good and not. I actually wrote an article on my website that went up this morning talking about Fel Reaver and Fel Reaver's drawback. And how the drawback only really matters in games where it actually loses you the game, because the cards in your deck are random, the cards going away doesn't matter until it is all that matters, and that's right. A sort of insight that you have, because that's the same sort of mechanic existed in Magic with Millstone, and just the sort of baseline of understanding certain types of effects and how they relate in the sort of system of collectible card game is certainly very relevant. And as Kaldi was saying, just having experience playing in competitive settings is a really big deal. I've been playing in Magic tournaments for almost 20 years, so like playing in a competitive environment doesn't really shake me as it can for people who are newer to it.
Right on. Yeah, I think that was the main focus for my question, is obviously the environment. But of course, we do have another game we want to jump into, Tabletop. While the decks may not be as serious as a tournament, we are in a best of series, so we do have the 2-1 up for Brian so far. But before we jump into another deck building right away, you guys do have at least 1 or 2 other decks, right? So we'll go back to something you've prepared again for today. And then maybe we'll do another deck build for the next one. So you guys can just choose at your will, and then we'll talk about what theme you've brought in for the next one.
Oh, I think I may have deleted one of my other decks to build one of these.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's something we can talk about, I'm sure, during the next game. The whole 9 deck slots. I mean, that's been.
I want to build so many different decks, and it's just like, oh, Anaru, if I'm gonna make a new deck, it's like I could delete one of my ladder decks, but no, I had one of my other cool decks that I was missing.
Like my desktop is just full of decks and screenshots and screenshots and screenshots, because I keep wanting to build more decks, and then I can't find anything because there's so many screenshots, and it just fills up really fast. So I'd definitely, like, 18 would be a start, I think. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, whatever the number, right? Even just a little bit more, I think a lot of people would be happy, and that's something that I think a lot of people have been asking since the GBG release. And of course, Ben Brode mainly has spoken on that during interviews and saying, of course, it's something they consider. But I can see their side of it too. We can discuss that a little bit more. Are you guys both ready for game 4 here?
I can play with a deck that I played already, or just a real deck. But
ooh, I don't know if
or I can totally put together the deck that I deleted.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Why don't we go with that?
Let's just go ahead and do that real quick. It will not take me very long.
All right, we'll jump with that, and then I won't put you guys on the spot with too many other decks, because I actually didn't consider the consequences of the deck slots there if I put you guys on the spot with building a deck.
I'm pressing back and nothing's happening. I need to restart Hearthstone real quick. So
all right, no worries.
It'll take me a moment, but should not be long unless Battle.net explodes.
We're not. Well,
but no, as far as the deck slot thing is concerned, like as I mentioned, I sort of in my day job work as a game designer, and the sort of simplicity for new players is a really big thing, and I think that Hearthstone's done a great job of it. And while there's tons of features that could be added, things like being able to choose what pack that you want at the end of Arena, or additional deck slots, these are things that do add sort of maybe minor but appreciable complexity to the game that can be add up to be kind of overwhelming for a newer player. All right. So.
Yeah, I think what's kind of like what did in Warcraft 3 with the in-game tournaments would be huge. Having weekly tournaments in the client would just be so huge and getting people active in the competitive scene.
Oh, I absolutely agree. I think that that having sort of additional tools in client for people to be able to participate in the in tournament formats, and also to I've made pretty clear that I'm not a huge fan of the way that the sort of last hero standing format typically plays out, and I think that having a big part of that is actually because it's so foreign to the average player's experience of playing on ladder. The fact that what deck you're choosing your deck into really colors the way that games play out, and I think that if there was a tournament mode in client that used the same format, so it was something that people had experience with without having to play in these sort of third-party events, or if there were just sort of alternate tournament formats that were also done in the client, I think it would go a long way.
Yeah, I think definitely the difference between ladder and tournaments is quite huge. Since I'm Icelandic, I couldn't take part in the BlizzCon thing, so I had really no great incentive to ladder. So I was playing full time this summer, and I'm actually just starting to play full time today. Just finished my last exam, so I'm gonna be taking the next term off. But when I was playing full time, nice. I was mostly doing custom games. And have still been mostly doing custom games. And with people that were playing 90% ladder, I felt I had an edge definitely this summer. Because it's just so different, you can't. I mean, a lot of players were just going for the 3 top ladder decks, but you have to really figure out stuff like, I guess, you know, let's say you lose game 1, you know, then you can't go for a counter to this deck. You have to go for some neutral deck that can take the 3-0, even though it's worse, you know. Like, let's say you lose to a handlock, you can't really go for the aggro hunter, you know. You have to go for something like Druid that can actually go for the 3rd game, you know, because you can just get so badly countered, which is what a lot of ladder players don't really face, I feel. But,
yeah, that's true. I'd love to hear more about that, but you guys can go ahead and start the game here, and we can talk more. And like you guys said, I think that's something I've been considering, and I've been hearing a lot from a lot of people who have played other card games where the disparity between ladder and what you experience on ladder and what you see on stream for tournaments. Maybe it's something they really need to start considering a little bit more for official tournaments, because, like you said, Brian, the concern for new players is pretty big. And as you mentioned, for instance, like choosing your pack type right at the end of arena, I think a lot of things we forget is that, say, even if you're new to Hearthstone, a lot of us, when we speak as inherent gamers, right? Like whether it's board games, whether it's card games, whether it's like video games. But then for the game designers, they have to consider, what if someone who hasn't played games comes through, right? That extra choice is gonna keep you a little bit away from that. So that's something to consider. And I'm sure that, of course, obviously they do have a concern for the deck slots and wanting to expand it. But I think for Brian, I mean, I hesitate to ask your deck theme because it seems quite apparent to our viewers. But let's go with Kaldi first. Kaldi, what's going on with your deck here with the Warrior?
I basically really wanted to try out the new Warrior cards, the Screwjaw Clunk, which I think is quite fun, and the Warpod as well, along with the Legendary, which don't see that much play. And I guess the Legendary gets seen a bit, but the Warpod has been completely ignored. It feels so. Also have a favorite new Legendary I find in the new expansion, which I'm not gonna mention right away, but okay. I did play it last game. I was hovering over it, but didn't get to play it. But yeah, I really want to get that one out.
Right on. We'll see. Yeah, the Warbot, I think, definitely has been a little bit overlooked, and maybe because the other cards are so distinctly just like clearly valuable. For instance, Shield Maiden, right? No one can argue that Shield Maiden is good in Control Warrior, things like that. But I guess one card I thought would be great and we're not seeing much of is Bouncing Blades, actually. And I think a lot of people are kind of in that boat where it seemed to have a decent fit in Control Warrior. But, what do you think is happening with that card? Both of you guys can just chip in anytime.
It feels like there's not enough. Like, you would need something like, I mean, for a full Borkly, you'd need something like Bouncing Blade and something to do some damage. Maybe it would be, I guess, Whirlwind and Exploding Sheep or something like that. But it feels like, I guess, Brawl is just more efficient at a huge clear. So it comes down to the, I guess, the minor clears, like taking down one minion or something. And it just doesn't seem really ideal for that. But yeah.
We're looking at a bunch of Murlocs here. The Bouncing Blades definitely wouldn't really help you too much here. Yeah, Murlocs. I've definitely noticed that because of the return of Murlocs with Shaman, even Warlock players are now going back to Murlocs on the lower ranks of ladder just to try to climb with some fun early on. But, well, this Screwjaw Clunker doing some work for your Warbot here, 4-3.
It's the new Houndmaster for sure, yeah.
Yeah, I do like the Warbot, but I guess with the Clunker you can definitely secure some value out of that. But without it, it does seem a little hard. 1-3, it's going to be very easily dealt with, especially early. Meanwhile, with Murlocs, I mean, there's not too much to say. Although here's a question. I guess back before GVG, when I used to talk with Artosis in the beginning, like even in beta of Hearthstone, of course, Artosis was kind of known for his Murloc wins now and then against other players. How do you feel about?
That's kind of what I need, is for this to do 27.
That would, I think there'd be a lot of concern over that.
On the topic of Murloc early, since I played in the beta, there was a player, a teammate of mine, Ruth Oscar, that I think has to be mentioned when it comes to Murlocs. He was the king of Murlocs. He was winning absolutely everything.
Damn.
And I think it's the second Zotac on NA. He played. I was trying to get him to play it, but he was kind of iffy since he had almost no cards, and in the end we decided that he would try out Murlocs, I guess, but he didn't really have a lot of cards, so he actually went for wow.
Oh God, am I actually? I think
wow. I think so. 8-6, yeah, you're more than dead here. Wow, that is
a lot of Win Furies.
That's the most Win Furies I've seen from Enhanced Mechano. Wow.
But yeah, he actually went for Shaman. This is before Nax in beta.
Right.
So he went for Shaman Murloc. He went for Mage Murloc, and the decks were so impressive. And he won the whole tournament. Zotac number 2 on NA with.
Wow.
And in beta, when I saw the new Murlocs, I immediately tweeted to him that he had to, do that again and actually play Murloc Shaman, for the win there.
Maybe. I mean, it definitely seems to have gotten some strength. And of course, now that we've wrapped up that last game, actually, again with the deck slots and everything in mind, I want to pick your brains a little bit on just like a standard game here. So if you guys don't mind, like if you guys have decks that you've used on ladder that you're okay with showing on stream right now, if we can just have a matchup there, I think that'd be fun to just talk through and see where you guys are coming from, what plays you're making, and then we'll go from there. And in fact, what time is it? I mean, it's because having talked to you guys during this, and you know what, you guys can give me some feedback too, but. Since you guys are on for turn 2 right after, I'd actually just love to maybe focus more on the discussion here because you guys have a lot to say, and I think it's all discussion that the community's been around a lot. So maybe if you guys want to just put everything on the line here with standard decks, the last game, I mean, we're at 2-2, so the last game we'll make it the best of 5 and then jump right over to turn 2 and go deeper into the discussion. I'm all for that. I mean, we have that freedom here.
So 3 decks, right?
No, just this last one. Like we'll wrap it up with this last one.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah. So
the best of 5. Was,
yeah, because we'll start from the beginning. So we'll just originally tabletop is a best of 7, but after talking to you guys during this, I actually do want to jump right into turn 2 and would love to pick your brains on some of the other topics we have prepared. So if you guys want to choose just a deck each, of course that part still. It's a little bit just all in, but whenever you guys are ready, we'll jump right into it. And we'll see if things change up a little bit now that we have standard decks instead of like all GVG or something like that.
Declined my challenge. He's dodging me.
Yeah, I actually have no decks made here. I deleted them all.
Oh, okay.
Since I'm from Europe, yeah, I'm not as much on the.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. That's the other thing we're dealing with here.
It's always surprising to me how many people have like full accounts on both NA and EU.
I'm Icelandic, so we're kind of in the middle of NA and EU.
Sure.
Favorable time zone, good internet connection to both countries or continents even. Yeah. So
that makes sense.
It works out. One sec.
I know some people in Korea obviously have like almost full accounts on like NA and KR because the beta came out earlier on NA, and so just things like that. But
oh yeah, I had the same thing, like playing so much NA.
Yeah, and then you switch over to your other region.
I am 1 card off.
Ooh.
It's always how that goes, right? Oh yeah, there you go. Okay, I know.
All right, you ready?
Yep.
All right.
Now he declines. Oh.
I'm waiting for your response. What it says.
There you go.
Let's see. I think there we go. And now we'll be able to jump into deck selection and jumping right in. I like what I see given GBG, and we are looking at what we would assume are standard decks here. So
I think I'm in trouble. Yeah.
Generally, that might seem to be the case, but
Priest kind of owns Paladin, and now testing it was 70-30 for Priest. So
I'll definitely have to pick on one of the cards you mulliganed there, Brian, after the game, but we can talk about that. Actually, yeah, there's a segment in turn 2 actually where I want to dive into that, so we can dive into specific cards there. But Prius, of course, saw a little bit of a rise going into like BlizzCon, and of course, Amaz like mainly kind of brought Prius to life with his tournament wins over the summer. But Paladin, I mean, Paladin does have quite some, I guess, new life now with a lot of the GBG cards. Do you guys think that's something that's gonna like stick around, or you think it's just because it's kind of the easiest one to figure out with GBG right now?
I think that there's a lot of really powerful new Paladin cards, so it's definitely something that I think that has some potential longer lifespan to it.
yeah, feels quite strong.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, I'm interested. Oh, I see.
All right. Now, playing that Prius, Brian, with the Akanai, of course. So Prius, with any hero really, but with Prius, of course, a lot of Prius actually does have a lot of combos, right? Kind of like Rogue, it's a lot about how you combo your cards, and Akanai being a very key part of that. And when do you decide, or against what other archetypes do you decide, like it's okay just to put the Akanai down to kind of put pressure on the board versus I really want to save that for like the ideal combo? And what's kind of the deciding factor there for you?
I mean, it really depends. Certain against like Zoo, for instance, if you really need like the Akanai Circle combo in order to actually combat them. Against a lot of decks, you're actually in totally reasonable shape, just using Akanai as sort of board presence and not really using it to really combo. Like right here, this is actually going to be glorious.
Oh no! Oh no!
Yeah, I was looking at that. This looks like it's gonna work out.
Ouch.
And everyone says never to do this, but they're often wrong.
Yep, the full Northshire. Hey, I've had many cases I've actually run into doing that more for whatever reason. I've had more opportunities.
People are so afraid of. I mean, this is actually something I talk about in the article about Fellreaver that I put up this morning. But people are so afraid of burning cards, and don't recognize that it only matters when you actually run out of cards. And if I draw 5 or 6 extra cards and burn 2, unless I actually lose the game because I burned 2 cards and go to fatigue or run out of resources, then because those cards were gone, it didn't matter. The amount of additional resources that I'm accumulating during the game right here is just huge.
Could definitely be just the bottom 3 cards you don't draw.
Right, exactly.
It feels so scary though, losing the cards for a lot of players.
It definitely feels scary, but it is not nearly as big of an issue as a lot of people seem to think it is. So here we're gonna go ahead and kill him and keep my train going here.
All right. I think actually now that you guys mentioned that, especially for people who perhaps are relatively newer to the whole card game here, the one upside of Hearthstone being a digital version is of course the graphics and the effects, and it can make it more interactive and fun. But I guess that could count for discarding cards too. If you're a new player, your card pops in and it just disintegrates in front of your eyes. I'm sure that actually does scare off a lot of new players on discarding cards.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's something
people definitely don't like to see their stuff going away.
I think Blizzard even commented on that, really wanting to, I guess, not have mechanics like I think it's Thoughtseize in Black in Magic, which lets you just pick a card out of your opponent's hand and see his hand as well. So you're messing with your opponent's hand, but yeah, because it's not as I guess friendly to the newer players.
Yeah, that's definitely a type of effect. And similarly, one of the common types of cards that even Magic has actually gone away from are just counter spells, like things that just stop your opponent from doing something directly. And for a long time in Magic's history, those were like among the best cards you could be playing. They're all really powerful, and they have since generally become weaker because the Wizards, the company that makes Magic, realized that people really just, even if it's not necessarily super powerful, people just view that as just being not particularly fun when that happens to them, and they get frustrated.
Of course, like anti-fun, a term that many game companies deal with, and it's a very big concern. As we've seen the game move on, Dr. Boom here. This is kind of what I wanted to talk about on turn 2. But now that he's here, I want to pick your brain, Kaldi. Do you agree with most people saying that Dr. Boom is probably just the best legendary we have, the neutral legendary we have in GVG?
I think it's the most simple one to use, for sure. So it's I don't want to say it's the strongest one by far or anything like that, but it feels very strong, I guess. I'm sure though in a few months we'll figure out something, or even in a few weeks or something, we could figure out a new cool way to play this and really change things up. So yeah.
Yeah, it is definitely the most straightforward, because you put it down and you don't have to worry about it. It does its job. Now you were considering quite a few things, Brian, in your last play, and what led to the Sludge Belcher, without having to mention your other options. But what makes just the Sludge Belcher there a good play as to maybe some other combos or things like that?
Digging to other options allows me to use the heal on my Northshire Cleric, and there's also just some of my options here potentially made a lot weaker depending on the turn that he takes. So I'm trying to build two powerful late game cards at this point.
Right on. And as Prius often do.
Yes.
Prius often do.
I'm actually in big trouble here, I feel. Like, if you go into the late game, it just... the deck that I'm playing is kind of pressure, but it can it can do okay in the late game, I guess, but it's mostly just for pressure. So... I need to take more risks, definitely, than...
Yeah, well,
that's
see how it works out. Yeah, I was looking at it. I mean, the combo does seem to be the right play here, but like you said, Kaldi, obviously, you're the one who's perhaps running a little bit out of steam from here on out, so we'll see how that pays off for you.
Yeah, the thing is, like, I know he has one Arcanine left, and I believe both of his circles left, so if he has that, I've just lost this game, but I can't really be sitting on a hero power at this point. I can't really be slow playing this, like... It's not enough. Like let's say he, I guess plays a Shadow with Death and a 5-drop minion, maybe a Loatheb or something. I'm just in such trouble, and so I have to keep the tempo and be ahead on board, or I just lose this. Because if it goes to late game, with the Thought Steals, the Mind Controls, and he probably has more late game minions than I do. So I really had to go all in here. If he doesn't have the circle, then I'm in good shape. I'd say maybe Pyromancer, Holy Nova or something.
Yeah, you've definitely made it a little bit iffy for Brian's turn here. I mean, you definitely, obviously, looking at your hand size, you have lots of cards you can play, but
right away.
What are we gonna?
Unfortunately, that's not the case for me, at least.
Yeah, yeah, you just work with what you've got.
Oh shit.
Well, you have what, 16, 18, 19 damage on board. That's
a lot of damage.
That is a lot. I mean, 26 health really seems a little bit measly at this point.
Let's see.
So, Kaldi, I mean, for you, obviously at this point, like you said earlier, you're going to have to start trying to go a little bit more all in and just going, taking the higher risk with the higher reward of closing the game out.
Almost all in field, but since he doesn't have board clear here, yeah, I have to finish this in like 3 turns, so I'm just dead. If you can stabilize once, I'm out of this. It may seem a bit, excessive, but that's actually the situation in this game. Let's see.
So, what you choose with, I mean, whatever you choose, Brian, I think is going to have to really rely on what else he's got more than what you put on the board at this point. Okay, the 3/3 gets in. That's a pretty solid place to be. Better than Dr. Boom getting in and then Sylvanas running into it for an easy trade.
A lot of people run the Shadow Madness. That would be quite the card here.
That's true. Shadow Madness would be very,
Or the
very
Cabal,
solid.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep, the Cabal does.
I don't know if this actually even saves me. Depends what I take. All right.
Oh yeah, it does depend quite heavily on what you take and what does it end up being. All right, just another 3/3.
So if you 7,
I mean, yeah,
8,
it's 5,
9,
10,
I think I might be.
12.
I think I might be dead if you have consecration. No, maybe not. Back there.
You'd be down to 9 and then
I think
6,
not,
7, 8, 9. Yeah, actually, if Consecrate came through,
I'm dead to consecration because to do.
would be because you would take damage to face and it would get rid of the Divine Shield.
Then you have to get 7. No, it might. Yeah, divine consecration might kill me. Yeah, I think I do the consecration.
It's fun for me watching both of your hands and talking to both of you while looking at this because we're pretty much doing calculations here for Kaldi.
Yeah, exactly died.
There we go. Yeah, I was like, we just went through it, but as a player, of course, I'm happy to see that Kaldi taking the steps to calculate it yourself before we like bait you into doing a misplay. But there you go. And hey, I mean that's something we'll talk about on turn 2. The power of the new paladins, right? With muster for battle.
Muster and quartermaster are both really powerful. Yeah, I used the one circle early to just establish clear the board and establish the North Shores. I actually also have a light bomb in this deck. That's why it's named Bombs Away. You might see there. So I have a little bit more clear later on, but didn't manage to pull those up.
I think like looking at the health in that regard, it looked a bit one-sided because I had board control, but it really wasn't. Like let's say one card back and forth there. Like if he gets a death on the Dr. Boom there, if he draws any sort of board clear, I'm just completely out. No chance of coming back whatsoever. So it was a lot closer than I think the health totals indicated there.
Yeah, if I didn't die that turn, it was gonna be.
Yeah.
I would almost certainly win.
Yeah. I think I would agree, and I think GVG has really changed at what point we have to start watching out health, right? Before it was always like around 15 for every class, but now things have changed quite a bit with board state and things like that. But of course, we're going to wrap up Tabletop early today because after having talked with you guys on Tabletop, we just want to dive right into turn 2, where we'll be able to talk more about meta, we'll be able to talk about tournaments, even some other issues and drama around the scene. Of course, that's our weekly podcast. So for you guys watching here, it's just going to be on this channel. Don't go anywhere. It should be a very short break because we do have the same guys, Brian and Kaldi, going to be jumping right on with me for turn 2. So we'll be right back with turn 2.